Becky, we had a very strong quarter and, in fact, a strong start to the year. We're beginning to see the economic recovery. So you may recall that second quarter last year would have been the real hardest hit part of COVID. So we saw a 6.5% increase in our volumes in our electric utilities. And that, coupled with investments that are driving earnings, really contributed to strong results for the quarter across all of our jurisdictions. And we're on track to deliver 515 to 530 for the full year and grow at 5 to 7%.
The one thing that was partially offset by were higher O&M expenses. What happened there, along with lower commercial renewables earnings?
Becky, on O&M, we were putting the brakes on a lot of spending in 2020, really responding to the COVID, the load decline. And so we're restoring some of that, reinstituting maintenance, rehiring. So we had a hiring freeze in place last year. So some of the O&M is just getting back to a more normal run rate. In our commercial renewables, it's timing of projects, and we expect to be on track in that business as well.
In terms of capital investments, you've got about $125 billion of capital that's expected to be deployed over the next decade. Is that still the number that you're shooting for? And where is that going to go, just given the focus that we've seen on renewable energy and clean energy?
That's exactly the focus, Becky. When we look at those numbers over the next decade, 70 to 80% of them will be focused on the transformation that is going on in our industry. So it's clean energy, it's retirement of certain assets, it's investment in our grid in order to be able to accommodate all of these new technologies. So we're excited about what it represents. It not only allows us to reduce carbon emissions, but it also delivers growth for our investors. So it's an exciting time in our industry, and we are aggressively pursuing this clean energy transition.
There have been some pretty high-profile cyber attacks on infrastructure, and I think it raises concerns about absolute necessary infrastructure like energy. What all are you doing to make sure that you're safe from cyber attacks? What kind of attacks? Is this a daily issue that you face? What have you all done?
Cyber is front of mind all the time, Becky. I know it's in the news all the time, but at a company like Duke Energy, it is a 24/7 operation. We continue to invest not only in our cyber tools and defenses, but also in our grid. The electric system delivery transmission is the area where additional investment, we believe, will help protect our customers. We're also, drilling and working as an industry, partnering with the industry and our government partners as well to make sure we're using best practices and sharing information. So it's a 24/7 operation.
Lynn, it's something that anybody who's spending long-term capital expenditures has to be watching what the current administration is telling them to do. And we've had some swings. You have one administration with the Trump administration laying out some guidelines, the Biden administration coming in and laying out new guidelines. If the administration changes and their prerogatives change, how will you respond?
It's a very good question, Becky, because as you know, we operate a long cycle business. So we're looking at capital that we're deploying today that should be in place and serving our customers in the 2030s and 2040s. I think the good news is the alignment around carbon reduction, the alignment around the clean energy transition is something we've been pursuing for a decade, and we will continue to pursue. I look at the work that's underway. We just talked about the capital spending between now and 2030. We're also working actively with the administration on research and development around the technologies that we believe we'll need in the 2030s and 2040s. So I think the alignment around clean energy transition is where we're focused, and we're moving as rapidly as policymakers and our customers will permit, our regulators. But I think there's a lot of opportunity here as we continue to pursue the clean energy transition.